All right. It is. My watch is showing 3 minutes after 12, so let's convene this work session for the Equity and Structure Committee. My name is Bill Henry. I am the councilman for the 4th District and chair of the Equity and Structure Committee. I am joined here in chambers by Mr. Sam Johnson of the Office of Council Services and Ms. Kathleen Kelleher of the Council for the 4th District Council's Office. I know, I'm trying. I'm sorry, Casey. This is me just reading. We are also joined by Councilman Chris Burnett of the 8th District, Vice Chair of the committee, and Councilwoman Danny McCray of the 2nd District, member of the committee, by Councilman Ryan Dorsey of the 3rd District, sponsor of the bill we will be hearing today. We are also joined on this call by Mara James, representing the Department of Finance, Victor Tavala, representing the Law Department, Dominic McAlilly of the Council President's Office, as well as Rebecca Simmons of the Council President's Office, and last but never, ever least, Matt Stegman, representing the Mayor's Office. I think the first item of business is for Mr. Johnson to put up on the screen the instructions for when, Casey's going to do this. Put up on screen the instructions for how we conduct the virtual hearings for those who are calling in or connecting via WebEx and the link on the Baltimore City Council site. Those instructions will be up in just a moment. There we go. Oh, I think that's changed. I didn't remember the first part about trying to find a quiet space with good light and a strong internet. There we go. That's the part I focus on, which is the public testimony. When we reach the point in the work session where we open the floor to testimony from the public, committee staff will coordinate that. If you are connecting online, you can read this for yourself, but I would say that you should use the raise hand function in WebEx to indicate that you wish to testify. Please state your name before speaking. If you are calling in and cannot see these instructions, know that you cannot be identified by name and you will be unmuted by the host one at a time. You'll hear 2 beeps when you are unmuted. At that point, please state your name and let us know whether you are interested in testifying or not. If you are interested in testifying, just start talking after you've said your name, or you can say no comment or I do not wish to testify. If we can't hear you, you'll be directed to call back and try to reconnect. It's just one page of instruction, right? Okay. So now what we will be doing is we will be proceeding to the work session on City Council 20-0504, the Charter Amendment City Council composition introduced by Councilman Dorsey. We've had a public hearing on this previously and another work session just yesterday. We're continuing that work session so that we could give the Law Department time to provide additional amendments. Actually, do we have the additional amendments from the Law Department? There we go. And is it possible for you to scroll down so that there we go. Keep going down to Amendment 2, because that's the one. Oh, is there are 2 pages of it? Ooh. Wow. Vic, that's a lot of wordage.
Councilman, this is Vic Turvola from the Law Department. This also includes Councilman Dorsey's original amendments, so all of them were there. Okay. She's offering, so they aren't all mine.
Okay. Councilman Dorsey, have you had a chance to review these amendments, and do they meet your satisfaction?
Mr. Chair, can you scroll down to the next, right there? I'm sorry, there was a version of this amendment, these amendments that had the phrase his or her in it. And in discussing that with DLR, it was found to be an oversight and should actually say the president. I don't see it here. Wait, is this, I'm sorry, I didn't get a copy of the final draft of it. And I just, if you bear with me 1 second.
No worries.
Councilman Dorsey, this is the version that Vic sent yesterday around 4 o'clock.
Okay, Tony DeFranco, I believe, just sent a revised copy to myself and to Sam. I'm forwarding this right now. It resolves this one issue. This should be in the inboxes of Victor and Casey and Bill right now. But it resolves that one concern in, let me see if I can find this. In Amendment 3. It says prior to the expiration of the president of the city council's 2-year term, the city council may remove the president from office by a 2/3 vote of its members. Does that make sense?
I'm going to ask this. I'm almost hesitant to ask the law department if there is any chance of confusion that since the president is now an office held inside the city council by one of the already elected members of the city council, there is no concern that this wording is that the city council is removing the president from being a council person as opposed to from the office of the presidency of the council.
This was supposed to be very carefully drafted to sort of omit that sort of situation. So
Okay.
I would say I think we're safe here.
Okay. Okay.
Then, Mr. Chair, that is the final version of the amendments as drafted jointly by the law department and DLR.
Okay, then the first question I have is, are there any questions about these amendments from either Councilman Burnett or Councilwoman McCray, members of the committee?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have a question for Councilman Dorsey.
The chair recognizes Councilwoman McCray.
So Councilman Dorsey, looking at the proposed amendment for number 4, and I think you may have touched on this yesterday, just so I fully understand, the president of the city council is only going to be able to serve a 2-year term and not consecutive 2-year terms. Is that correct?
Yes. But that does not affect their membership on the city council. To be clear, a person who is elected as either one of 10 district representatives or one of 5 at-large representatives on the city council, any one of those 15 could be chosen by the full council to serve for 2 years as council president. And say if they were elected as such at the beginning of the term, they would simply not be the council president for the last 2 years of the term and continue on as a council member. I mean, ostensibly, they could be voted in as the council vice president or the council's planning commission rep for the last 2 years of the term, if the council so chose. Or vice versa, a person who did not serve as the council president for the first 2 years of the term and was simply serving as a council member could also be chosen to become the council president for the last 2 years of a term.
So what's your reasoning for the 2-year terms and not 2 consecutive year terms? As 2/3 of the members say want this council president for another 2 years, why would you say, hey, we don't want to have 2-year consecutive terms?
The general principle in my mind behind the breaking up of a 4-year term into 2 terms is to dissolve the political power that is inherent in holding a higher status title, and simply allow that the council president serves, as a presiding officer, and that when they have a more extensive term, the staff of the office becomes more subservient to the council president and their kind of unilateral or political will, rather than serving the office. They end up serving the individual more than they perhaps serve the office of the council president or the body of the city council. And I believe that in essentially dissolving some of the concentration of power that surrounds the office of the council president, we become a more professionalized body with more professionalized staff that isn't necessarily coming and going with one council president's term, and that they essentially become a knowledge base and a repository of expertise in serving the city council.
Councilman Dorsey, thanks for your explanation.
You're welcome, Councilwoman McCray. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, this is Victor again. I'd like to go back to your question about amendment number 3, about trying to clarify that we're not removing the president from office. Perhaps I think it would be best if we add may remove the president from the office, making it clear that we're talking at this point from the office of the president at this point. So if we add a "the" just between "from" and "office," put "the office" there, that'll work. Mr. Chair, you're muted.
Thank you, Vic. Councilman Burnett, did you have any questions or concerns about the amendments?
I do not. I had an opportunity to speak to the bill sponsor about the bill and the proposed amendments ahead of time.
Okay. Councilwoman McCray, is the lack of the ability to have consecutive terms your only concern about these amendments?
It's my main concern.
Okay. All right. Okay. Page 3. I'm sorry, bear with me. I'm looking at how that, oh, nope. You can leave the ones up on the, I just wanted to read Amendment 4 in context. Page 3, 21 and 22. A member may not be elected to or serve consecutive terms. They may not serve consecutive to. Okay. All right. So passing that amendment is a wordsmithing choice for clarity, not changing the bill itself. Okay. All right, then at this point, I think I would check see if there are any other participants on the call who wish to give public testimony on these amendments. And I would ask staff to check the attendee list. Okay. We are now going to go through the participants in the call who cannot unmute themselves and have staff go through to see if there is anyone who wishes to testify. If you, I see Matt Stegman has his hand up. Matt?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the risk of sounding like a broken record, I just, again, would like to reiterate the administration's concern about the opportunities for meaningful public input on what I think, is a pretty significant shakeup in the way that city government is run. I know that it appears to be the intent of the committee to move forward with these amendments and with the bill today. I just wanted to put those concerns again on record. It does appear that there are a few members of the general public who may be dialed in today, but again, I think that we really need to be thoughtful and make sure that the citizens are being engaged.
Attendees that we know
Okay, I appreciate.
or don't know. Who's not?
We're having some feedback. We're getting feedback from somebody over here. Sam, can you mute yourself for a second? Okay, I think that's it. Yeah. All right. So, Matt, I appreciate your concerns. I will remind all the participants in this work session that this charter amendment was originally introduced back in February, before the world became the world we're living in now. And there were plenty of, there's been plenty of outreach. We have attempted to make certain that the public at large is aware that we are considering these types of changes to the charter. And I am hesitant, given the window of opportunity that the charter provides for when we can do this. I am hesitant to say we're going to skip this opportunity and wait 2 years to have the opportunity again to try to make Baltimore City's government work better. But your concerns are noted and appreciated. I will say, actually, you know what? The chair will hold further remarks until after we consider public testimony. So let's go down the list, and I don't see any call-ins. These are all people who are logged in to the online. So, Ms. Winder, did you have any testimony for the committee?
I did not.
Okay, thank you. Fabiola?
No comment.
Thank you. Joe? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So we're gonna, oh, that's right, Joe. All right. So, Kay Humphrey?
I believe that may be Kim Humphrey from the Department of Human Resources, but I'm not certain.
Oh, okay. If that's Miss Humphrey, you just muted yourself rather than unmuting yourself.
Hi, can you hear me now?
We can.
Okay. No comment.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, KLP. They have no audio capability. Well, that is going to make this difficult. Okay. Then last would be Ryan McCamey. Oh, not last. I see. There's more back to. Okay. Ryan, did you wish to testify? And Sumner and Thyra. Okay. So we have no public testimony. So then I would ask the committee, do I have a motion on the amendments?
I'll make a motion to move the amendments, Mr. Chair.
The amendments have been moved by Councilman Burnett. Is there a second? The chair will second the motion. So we will take the amendments as they have been presented to the committee with the verbal addition of the in, I believe, what's the third amendment? As Mr. Tervala stated. The amendments are before the committee. The chair votes aye. Councilman Burnett?
Aye.
Councilman Burnett votes aye. Councilwoman McCray?
Nay.
Councilwoman McCray votes nay. At this point, I would like to use the discretion of the chair to say that these amendments have been adopted, but rather than vote the charter amendment out of committee at this point, I'd like to recess this work session again and take a little bit of extra time to make certain that there is absolutely nothing else that we need to adjust in terms of the wording on here before we bring it out onto second reader. And given that it looks like we have more than 2 weeks until we have another council meeting to bring it out on second reader, I think we have that time. So I'm going to recess this hearing until, oh, that's right. We have to announce the specific time at this. Right? We can, okay. So we're gonna sit down with the sponsors and the committee, sponsor and the committee to find a time to come back and finish this work before the next council meeting. And that will be announced on the council's website and made part of the calendar. Is there any other business before the committee at this time? Anyone else have anything for the good of the order? Otherwise, thank you very much for your time and patience this afternoon. And this hearing stands in recess.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, and everybody.